What's going on, everybody? Slang Dutchman here, and today is time we install the Camber plates. So I've got these from a guy that I knew from drifting. He had a different coilover set that came with these, but he had different plates that didn't work with his setup. So he sold me his. These are just average eBay spec max speeding rods plates, but I think they're good enough. The thing I'm curious to see, because you can go like, I think the internet said it at least, you can go minus like 1 positive degree of camber and 7 negative or something like that, which I don't want because I have 4.5 degrees of camber, and before the car had that much camber it drove way better. It's not as snappy, not as even if you're driving on the freeway and you have like a lot of water, the car wants to trail a lot, and I think if I take a little bit of the camber out, it should be handling way better, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I was curious if like this is right, this is left, or the other way around, I don't know yet. If you can put them the other way around and then use all the way to positive, so I can take the 4.5 degrees of camber out and go back to 1.5 or 2 degrees, something like that. It's just on the little marks here, just eyeballing it, so I don't know yet where it's gonna be. I will take the coilovers out. I installed my vise that I got from the father buddy of mine, where I did the last thing with the angle setup. He had this in this attic. He was like, well, if you need one, there you go. So really thank you for that, love it. So I'm gonna take the coilovers out, place them in the vise, take the top hats off, or take them off on the ground, because if they spring somewhere you don't want it steady in here so it shoots off. Just gonna put it on the ground, put your feet on it, and then let it shoot away. No problem there. So then I'm gonna install these plates and see how it all lines up. Everything else is just a big question mark because I've never done this before, so here we go, learning again. While we're on the topic of learning, here's my old D-series engine that I've got, and the guy was not completely honest, and by the time I got it, afterwards I paid him the money, I figured out that the engine was not running and then there was something wrong with it, so I was not able to use this. Otherwise this would have gone in the Civic, but the Civic is long gone. I sold it and I still had the engine, so I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna take it apart, look what's inside of it. I mean, I know how an engine kind of roughly works, but I've never seen the internals and taken everything out. So if you have like an old engine laying around, I highly recommend just take it apart and look at all the parts, and I don't know, you get a bit more understanding how everything works. Also, I'm gonna make this into a little side table with some lights and a glass plate on top of it. Long project, but we'll see how it turns out. So, very simple process. Already took it out. Just 2 bolts, one here and one on the other side, and then there's one here on top. Then 3 bolts at the top of it, at the strut tower, and that's pretty much it. I took a tie rip, zip tie, whatever, so there's no tension on this brake line, because you never want tension on your brake lines. And for some reason, adjustment. You can't see it, but it's starting to hail a bit, and it was just sunny and I was working in a sweater, so and then it's obviously same on this side, it's all still in, so hopefully you can see it. Just 1 bolt there, one on the other side, and then one there at the top. Take those out, 3 bolts at the top, but since it's shitty weather now, I'm just gonna do this inside and yeah, see if it all matches up, because if not, if something comes up, which is often the case with cars, then I don't have to take or put the other one back in, and just do it one at a time. Plus the weather is shitty, so let's see. So yeah, what I thought, it's like if you look at it from the heart of the whole plate, you can see that it's only slightly to the left, but then I took the one off the other side, and then you can see you can go a lot further out, like this way. So they're reversible, which is convenient because my angle kit already is giving me 4.5 degrees of camber, and I can only dial 1 degree of camber back, and I wanted to go like 2.5 or something. So I'm gonna change them the other way around and then see how they fit. It even has these little holes here, which gives you the option to change them out from here, like to a different one. So I switch these around, so I'm not using the first hole, using the second one, and then skip one and then another one, so you can go further that way. And if you want, you can go fully retarded and go that way. I don't think I will need that, but we'll see. First off, taking this one off, gonna measure the distance I have here, because I also want to raise it a little bit, like a centimeter or two, maybe max, since I still have the problem that when I steer in and the car leans a bit, it just compresses and I'm still hitting the tire with my fender. So I need to roll the fenders and maybe lift it up a little bit. Some people are like, well, it's way too high, but I'm all about function in my car, especially now it's a drift car, and I don't care about the whole how low can you go and stance and all that bullshit, because well, if you're rubbing fenders and by that slowing down your tires and by that spinning out, then you might look cool spinning out, but that's not what I'm going for. So measure up how far it is so I know where to go. Release a little bit of tension, because otherwise this thing will come flying at me, which I don't want. And then we'll see. Wait, I don't even know if there's really that much tension on it, but oh well. Off we go. Clean this up a little bit, measure it, and then I have one of these. Most people know them, spanners. You can use to loosen and tighten everything. The thing I did is that, look how easy that goes. Copper grease, 0.1 second. These things are not gonna unwind themselves. If you just like tighten them by hand and then just do one little push, more than enough. It will not loosen itself. I see a lot of people just like put one on this and one on the other and then trying to tighten it. Results in this rusting up, because it's all aluminium, it gets oxidated, and you will never ever get it loose, and you will not ever be able to adjust your coilovers. And even if it's a little bit too loose, I rather retighten my coilovers, because they're sagging a bit, than never be able to adjust them ever again. But never happened to me in the past, so I don't think it's gonna happen in the future. So let me use two hands for this now, so I can get this thing on. So I just measured it. It's 6 centimeters from the bottom, what is it, thread. So now I'm gonna try and clean it a little bit, so I know that whatever is on there is not getting in my threads. That way I should be able to just wind them down. If I have wound them down, I'm gonna clean it up a bit more, spray some more copper grease, because here inside I noticed that when I want to tighten them up, like last video, it was not really getting that much further. So we'll see. This is already going, but if you can hear the sound of it, it's a bit sounds a bit nasty. Cleaning it and turning it, winding it down as I go. Perfect combo. You know what? I have these things for a reason. You don't get messy, don't get greasy or dirty. Well, after a while they soak through if you get in oil, but if you have some pressure on a tool and you slip off, you're not gonna bust your knuckles immediately on something sharp. It still hurts, but keeps your skin a bit more intact, which I kinda like. So I released it a little bit, but this is not really holding that much tension, even though even you can twist them like this. But the only thing that's really winding down, this is pretty easy though. The only thing that's really winding down, opening up, is this spring, which is the helper spring that most people that go for lowest car and stance nations bullshit take out, so they can go even lower. So then if your car comes off of the ground, the whole spring is just rattling loose inside this. It's for people that don't really value their ride quality. Just want this little tension on these things that I can get, because well, if you take them off without releasing the pressure, they'll fly everywhere, and I won't be the first one who gets dislocated jaw or whatever by just getting hit in the head with one of these springs. Now I'm not gonna put my head right above it, but still. And also, I was having a little bit of trouble with this because if you can see here, there's a lot of dirt and stuff in here, which I'm gonna clean out, because last drift event I went off track like 3-4 times, and there's a lot of mud, and that just jumped up in here and get all the mud and all the bullshit on there. So they're a bit more nasty as what they should be, but anyways. Now there's a little cap here you can take off, and then there is a nut in there, as you can see, and also an Allen key thingy, or where you can put your Allen key in. Allen! And you do that because you can hold this top part straight, so you don't twist the damper which is inside. So you hold that one with the Allen key and you can twist the nut off. So let's see how that goes. You have a buddy who can like hold this down a bit and then do this work for you. Come on. Because now if it's almost loose, I need to check it every time. Because then if it's almost loose, you need to be aware that it springs up, and you don't want to hold all the tools and everything in your hands, because yeah, it will come at you. So now this bolt, so now this one is almost off. As you can see, it's flush in there and has kind of locker things inside there. It's past that, so I can now twist this without putting too much tension, so the whole shock thing will twist. So I'm now going to put it on the ground, put my feet against it, put my feet against here, and then you can twist them off. And then if something springs loose, this thing will shoot away from you, and you have your foot on here like this. So should be all good. So luckily there wasn't barely any tension. I almost got everything out, which is a good thing. So I'm going to place this back into the vise, or just the vise. Okay, so I can now take this off. This was on top of that, basically here, which is gonna stay on. And then the real question was, at least for me, I want to put this one on. That's what I was afraid of. Damn it! There was one thing that I was not sure of. Like I said, if you go do some stuff on cars, this hole here needs some bushings, because it now has a lot of room and a lot of play to wiggle. So I doubt that we can get these from a store right here. So or the story ends here, or I'm gonna double check and see if I can, ooh, it's a nasty one. See if I can get something that works with it. So let me get my phone and search the web. So after a little bit of work, I managed to get, where is it? Here. Little bit of tubing which was 18 in the outside diameter and 14 on the inside, so it's like 2 millimeters of wall thickness, which is perfect because then you can just slightly tap it in, and as you can see, I now have an extra little bushing in there. I'm gonna top that off with a little ring on top of that, maybe make it a little bit smaller on the outside edge so the ball has enough clearance to go like everywhere, but then it should fit and have no or barely any play in it, because if you look at the top of this, it will still have a little bit of play because this piece here is thicker as that the piece of the threads are, and if you place it on, you can see that it's just flexing a little bit here on the plate, but if you tighten it down, should be all good to go. So I've done one to see if it worked, because if it didn't work, it was no use filming it, of course. So now do the other one. I already have a bit cut off, and grind this down a little bit, get all the little sharp edges off, make it a little bit at an angle so it slides in perfect, and we should be all good to go. Put everything back together, put it in the car, do the other coil over, but that's 3 bolts, 6 total to get it out, and then do the same process, which was pretty quickly. So let's get cracking. So as you can see, this one is on. Just need to hold this down with the Allen key, and then tighten this all the way down. But as you can see, there's, except for the camber plate itself, there's no more play. Yeah, but the loose bolts of the camber plates. So I'd say mission success. A little bit custom job to make it work, make it fit. But fuck all those other companies. We do it the drift style. Make it functional, make it work, and if it doesn't exist or you don't have it, you see if you can make it yourself. And honestly, the most rewarding thing is to wait, let me be in shot, in frame. Most rewarding thing like this is just to do it yourself, and then it turns out to actually work, which I think is amazing. Because it doesn't always work, and like I said, like working with cars, there's always something that is holding you back. In this case, a little part that went missing, but we make our own, and well, we fixed it. So that is one down. After I've tightened this one, I can wind up the coil again to its original height, plus a little bit extra. I think that's it. Yes, good. Thank you. So that one is done. This is adjustable. The only thing now is to do this, wind up these coils, and then do exactly the same process on the other side. I already have, wait, hold on. Yes, thank you. I've already made the second bushing for this one, as you can see. So I just have to take out the spring, which is 6 bolts, and then put it back on. After I've done that, I'm gonna install and see how the camber is and what I want. Sorry. I'm gonna see how the camber is, what I want, and basically show you guys how to set the camber. Anyway, little fine-tuning stuff. I'll catch you guys when this is all done. The other one is done and it's in, and I can adjust the camber. So it is in. As you can see from the oh, my fingers are way too thick. That little 0 point there, I went to the like 4th from the bottom, which is, they have like 10 stripes in total, and well, if 7 degrees is max, then of 10 little stripes, then 5 is gonna be like 3.5, so I went a little bit below that. So as you can see, in comparison, it pokes out a little bit. And if you compare that to this side, which is just sitting in kind of flush, it's lifted. If I lower the car, the camber will get even more, but it's still on the jack. But yeah, it's a complete difference, and I might even go a little bit extra in, but I'm just for now gonna put it like this, because you can just loosen these, give your wheel a kick, and it will just go in. And I can only basically add more by going in, but I think if I go maximum in and bottom out these to there, I think that's already more than enough that I need. So I'm gonna leave it for this, take the other one out, do a simple job, and done. Also, I had a little bit of like it was touching on the inside, but because I pulled all that ridiculous camber out, which makes the wheel now more right up instead of leaning that way, I have the clearance that I wanted. I can pull it a bit, and then it's slightly rubs, but it's only when you really pull at it, and it's, well, it rubs, but it doesn't like slow the wheel down, which it did before. It was really just grabbing the wheel to a halt. So if I change to a little bit thinner tire or whatever, then it should be all good. Oh, I'm gonna sit on my knees so you can see what I'm doing. This is the other one, last one. Just got it all on here. Works like a charm. Only thing I need to do now is wind it up to the right size. This one was 5.5, the other one was 6, because of the engine is leaning a little bit more to one side of the engine bay is like the other. Same as I had with my CRX, because like the engine is not in a straight way, but like horizontal, and that has the gearbox on one side, so it makes it heavier. So I was familiar with that. This was 5.5, so I'm gonna raise this to 7 centimeters. Copper greased everything, cleaned all the threads, and now I'm just gonna wind it up to the 7 centimeters, install it. It's already dark outside because it went very fast, and I grabbed dinner in between, and my mate Thomas helped me out because my car was on the jack without any springs on it. Didn't feel like putting it back on because I just needed like a little piece of tubing, or what is it, pipe, to make the bushings. So we went to the store together, and then hanging out, chilling. Yeah, he really helped me with that, but it slowed down my process a little bit, which is no problem because I have to work tomorrow though, but now I'll have the time to put it on. The only thing is I don't have that much daylight left, so I'm gonna do this and then show you guys how it looks tomorrow. But to the power of editing, you will see that right now. So back here in the daylight, it's the next morning and I need to go to work in a bit, but looking at the car like this, it has a lot less camber, and I hopefully will be able to drive it a lot better. It has a bit wider stance now. Also, if you look at it from the top, it just sticks out a bit, but I needed this for the clearance of the angle kit. So what I'm gonna do is just roll the fenders out, and I don't care by how much, because well, I don't care, and if it's getting fucked up, I'm gonna do over fenders anyway. So that's the next step. But for now, thank you guys for watching. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.